Hello, this is Electric. I'm here with week 9 of Draft League. I am doing some dank post commentary because I messed up and accidentally had my mic muted the whole time. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. We're up against Brink. Looking at team preview, the only thing that really surprised me on this team preview was the lack of Clef Key. Due to what he did not bring previously in the season, he was forced to have Frostmoth and Palisand. And so I expected to also see Annihilate and Klefki, and then 2 of Houndoom, Guard of War, Mousehold, and what was the last thing? Kilowattrel. But instead he left Klefki on the bench, which was surprising. I had Infiltrator Noivern there to stop the screens, and I've seen him run Misty Terrain a couple of times as well, so I expected to see that. Led off here with Psychic Spam, just to find out what he wanted to do. It goes pretty well into the Annihilate and the Mousehold combo at the start, because this is Terra Ghost and Indeedee, and Scarf Armourouge, but we see the Frostmoth and the Houndoom here. I spent some time running some quick calcs, and I was considering Terra fighting Armourouge to just kill the Houndoom, but ultimately decided to save my Terra. Aurasphere does not KO here in any case, unless you Terra. Frostmoth gets Tailwind, which I did not really respect. I haven't seen a pace, so I don't know whether it actually had it or not, but it did not come out in this match. Terra Water Frostmoth is pretty expected. I knew it would be something that resisted fire, and Terra Water is probably the best overall option. It could have been something like Terra Dragon or something like that, because I don't really have much in the way of hitting that. And Snarl does a very good amount here onto Armourouge. Indeedee redirects the Terra Blast away and fortunately survives. This is max HP, max defense Indeedee, mostly to be able to handle Annihilate as best as possible. So I end up switching out Armourouge here, just to get a new move onto it instead of Aurasphere. I was expecting something like an Annihilate switch, at least in the back. And so I decided to bring in Hawlucha since it'll take minimal damage from Snarl and doesn't care about the debuff. By the way, the nickname theme is Fire Emblem, because it's a great game and you should all play it. So Frostmoth takes one there. And it opens up a pretty reasonable switch back into Houndoom, or excuse me, back into Armourouge. Even though Houndoom is still on the field, I know that Hawlucha threatens it out pretty well. So I decided to lock into Expanding Force here, just because I don't want to be stuck switching out from an Aura Sphere again. And I go for Brave Bird onto Frostmoth, because I would rather lose a little bit of HP rather than lose... Or do I go Close Combat? I thought I went Brave. Yeah, I go Brave Bird. Post-commentary is fun. Unfortunately, Frostmoth does have Wide Guard, so that means that Expanding Force isn't going to get the bonus damage onto it. We do see that it's Citrus as well. Houndoom is able to take out Armarouge. So it's down to 4-on-2, but fortunately Hawlucha and Noivern outspeed everything that he's brought. Since there's no Kilowattrel, I know that Noivern outruns everything that is not a Scarfer, and if there is a Scarfer, then Hawlucha is able to handle it. So this is just a pretty safe way to get both KOs. Brave Bird into Frostmoth, and then Air Slash on Houndoom. As long as Air Slash doesn't miss, that picks up 2 KOs, and neither of them miss. So it's back to 2-on-2. So Mousehold comes in, as well as Palisand, which surprised me. I really did expect to see the Annihilate in the back here. So after thinking about what to do for a minute, I'm not really sure what I should go for. I end up clicking Heat Wave just to get some damage down, and I hit Close Combat into the mouse, expecting to see something like a Sash. And I know that if it's not a Sash, then it'll get the knockout. I considered Terrifier, clicking Terrifier on the Noivern, but I didn't want to immediately, just because I feared Earth Power on future turns. I wanted to get a little bit of damage on the Palisand first. And Mousehold ends up protecting, so it doesn't take any damage from Close Combat here. Palisand's able to hit into the Hawlucha, but it fortunately does not KO. So at this point, I know that Palisand is the real issue, and I want to try to break a potential Sash on Mousehold before I go for another attack. Just because I don't want it surviving and hitting me with Pop Bombs, and then Palisand's able to clean up. I know that Shadow Ball will be able to deal with it, but I need to get rid of the redirection as well. So I go for the Terrifier Heat Wave at this point, and I protect Hawlucha. And Mousehold ends up getting a double protect, which was pretty fun. This Heat Wave does crit Palisand. I did run Calc Slater, and I I don't know exactly what Palisande's set was, but I'm pretty sure that that crit did not end up mattering because I do have Shadow Ball here, and I'm able to just click that and close combat. And knowing that Shadow Ball will KO Palisande, the only way that I lose is if Hlucha, is if it's like Sash, Mouse Hold, and redirects, which it doesn't end up being. So Hlucha is able to take out Mouse Hold, and Noivern ends up taking the kill on Palisande, so that's a game 1 win. I honestly didn't give a huge amount of look at Palisande during team building. I was assuming there would be a lot more focus on Annihilate. But Palisande really put in a lot of work this whole set. So in game 2, I decide that I want to give the Trick Room mode a try. That means that I'm going with Indeedee and Mimikyu to lead, with Copperajah in the back, and then for my 4th, I decide that Hlucha is probably going to be the most useful. Generally, when I run Trick Room teams, I like to have my setters in the lead, one Trick Room sweeper, and then one very fast option in the back for taking care of Trick Room when it ends. And I'll use Protect to stall out my own turns. This is AV Copperajah. I am once again saddened that it lost Power Whip in the generational change, because Power Whip would have been so nice in this matchup. Just to be able to handle things like Palisande and the Terra Water Frostmoth. I ended up going with Terra Water on Copperajah and an AV set. During testing, I was doing things like Life Orb Copperajah with Sheer Force, but it was making Noivern much worse. So I decided to swap their items back, and that wound up being a good decision. So I see the Annihilate and the Mouse Hold lead here, and to me, because this is Terra Ghost Indeedee, I feel very safe choosing to go for a Sword Stance and a Trick Room right off the bat. Now, in hindsight, after rewatching the set, I should have gone for Terra Ghost here, and I didn't. And I am pretty bailed out by that. At the time, I wanted to save my Terra, and I figured that it was reasonably possible. It was something like Beat Up plus Rage Fist right off the cuff, but it ended up not being that. And yeah, so that was why I got bailed out. That I did ask Brink about that after the set. That was wide lens, so that was the 99% miss on Pop Bomb. It was a 2-hit KO even if all 10 hits landed because of my Citrus Berry and being max defense. So it wouldn't have KO'd immediately, but it definitely would have changed the pace of the match. So at this point, since I know that I am faster than both opponents, or faster than Mousehold, I decide to go for the Drain Punch directly into Mouse, especially since I know it's not Sash at this point. And Annihilate breaks my disguise and gets forced out due to Red Card, which is honestly my favorite item on Mimikyu. And indeed, he just protects to avoid taking Annihilate damage. Houndoom is forced out. It's a you don't get to choose who you go out to when you get red carded, if you've never seen that item before. So he ends up with Palisand and Houndoom out together. So at this point, I really don't know what I want to hit, what I care more about. I decided to go for the Drain Punch and Houndoom. Thinking on it now, that was probably a little bit risky. The better play would have been more guaranteed damage on Palisand, but I was scared of something like Will-O-Wisp on Houndoom or something like that. And unfortunately, he reads it and gets Protect off while using his Terra. So in this instance, with 2 turns of Trick Room left, I decide that I want to focus down Palisand here. And I try to get a little bit greedy by going for Protect, assuming that there wouldn't be a Shadow Ball sent at me, since I can just redirect it. That ends up being a bad read, though. So Houndoom swaps out in for Annihilate. And Palisand does use the Shadow Ball, and it's able to take the knockout. So that was a very good read on Brink's part. Yeah, I did not respect Palisand enough coming into this, and I have new appreciation for it. So since there's only 1 turn of Trick Room left, I decided it's best to go into Hawlucha here, especially because it now can hit everything that Brink has left super effectively. And it'll end up just being a matter of reading Protects and redirection. I also want to make sure that Hawlucha gets in time to catch the Psychic Terrain. It's not a huge issue because it's already faster, but you know, a little bit of extra special defense never hurt anybody. So it's at this point that I finally end up burning my Terra. I definitely know that I want to redirect any attacks that Annihilate's bringing in. And I figure it's more likely that it's a Rage or excuse me, a fighting move than a Rage Fist in this instance, just because of the redirection. And I use that to be able to hit Palisand with a Brave Bird. And very fortunately, Indeedee is able to survive the double up. So that ends Trick Room, and at this point, I'm feeling pretty reasonable about my situation. Brave Bird is... I specifically ran Brave Bird because I noticed that it would actually KO Annihilate, while Acrobatics would not. So, and that was for like max HP Annihilate, and so I feel pretty comfortable going for that into 8 here, and just letting Indeedee pick up the Palisand KO. Something like a Protect on Annihilate and letting Palisand go down probably would have been pretty rough, but fortunately that is not the move that Brink went for, and all that he has left at this point is Houndoom that Hawlucha handles pretty well. So good games to Brink. That was a really fun set. It definitely sucks for the Pop Bomb miss, but it's Pokemon, and I think we've all had some rough RNG this season. So good games to him, and I'll see y'all next time.